Raven. 6:01 on this Thursday morning, aka Lil Friday. We've almost made it, y'all. Let's start off with a big time smile. This is I-10 at Clearview, and as you can see, roadway starting to see a little bit more activity as far as the number of cars hitting the road. We're still not in that prime time hour of commuting, but you are going to start seeing some more increased volume. Looking at the NO Metro now, this is I-10 at Williams, I-610 at Canal Boulevard, free and clear. Seeing a small spot of congestion on US 90. I'll have to do some investigating to figure out what's going on, but I don't have any crashes on interstate systems to report for you so far this morning, which is some good news because that could cause a snowball effect at this time of the morning. Going on over to the West Bank, this is the General de Gaulle camera, which is showing us a handful of more cars hitting the roadway. West Bank Expressway definitely has the green light as folks approach the Crescent City Connection Bridge. Ferries still not in service. They should be operating, if not right now, in the next several minutes, and I, of course, will bring you that information as soon as I have it. Drive times still look fantastic. Green lights, just like my green dress on this Thursday morning. It's a great time to hit the road. If you've got somewhere to go, I-10 at Chef Mentor Highway is starting to show tiny bit of a slowdown, but this is one of those areas where we're always going to expect to see increased volume earlier in the morning. But for right now, things are good. It's 6:02. If something does develop, I'll bring it to you on air and online.
All right, Brandi.
The sound of that. Blue skies and sunshine. Taking a live look right now at the West Bank. As you can see, roads are starting to heat up. We're starting to see some more cars hit the roadways, which is typical as it's 6:17 on this Thursday. Let's look at it on a map. General de Gaulle camera showing us the sun is starting to come up and the cars are starting to hit the roads. West Bank Expressway has the green light as folks approach the Crescent City Connection Bridge. Your ferries are in service. They've been in service about 10 minutes or so, so that's some good news. We can move on from that. So let's take a live look now at the NO Metro. This is I-10 at Causeway Boulevard. As you can see, I'm seeing tiny spots of yellow develop on the interstate systems, and that is because it is that time. When you look at it here on this camera, though, things are flowing smoothly. I don't have any crashes on the interstate systems to report for you. If you're going across the Causeway Bridge, no restrictions or advisories in both directions so far this morning. And then let's go on up to the North Shore. This is Covington, Mandeville, and as you can see right now, US 190 free and clear. They've got the green light around 7:30, 8 o'clock, especially Covington. Y'all are going to be on the clock. We'll start to see a whole lot of heavy volume and slowdowns there. I-12 at US 190 interchange. Sun is also starting to come up there where you can see free and clear. Nothing really to report for you. Green light for all of my folks driving in, especially from Slidell to the CBD. 30 minutes is like the perfect average drive time for y'all. Over the next 20 minutes, though, that time is going to start to get bumped up. And look at this. Beautiful shot. Sun starting to rise over the Crescent City this morning. And as you can see from this US 90 at Magnolia Street camera, we're also starting to see a whole lot more cars. But right now, nothing that's going to slow you down. Of course, if something does happen that could impact your commute this morning, I'll bring you all that information right here on WDSU.
Brandi, thank you.
But it looks like 6 degrees of separation from the morning to the evening and how we'll be feeling outside. How I'm feeling right now, I do have one problem spot to report for you. I do not think it's going to impact a lot of our drivers, but I do want y'all to be aware. This is over in Elmwood, Jefferson Highway, heading northbound at Elmwood Park Boulevard. I don't see any congestion or delays as a result of it, and it's still fairly early. It's 6:31. Hopefully they make some progress and get it cleared out of here before we start to see a peak amount of volume. Looking at I-10 at the high-rise bridge. And as you can see on I-10 westbound, there's a whole lot of cars hitting the high-rise bridge, as is typical around this time. You'll start seeing a lot of buses and just a whole lot of vehicles. And looking at it on the map, you can see that before you approach the high-rise bridge, there is a little bit of congestion and development. It's actually improving from the last 2 minutes or so, but it's still averaging 65 miles an hour when you're at the top of the bridge. But looking at the greater part of the NO Metro, I-10 at Williams, I-610 at Canal Boulevard, beautiful start to the sunrise. What you're not seeing is any real congestion, delays, slowdowns, anything like that at 6:32 on this Thursday morning. You still have the green light for your drive times. That's really good. That'll start to get bumped up over the next half hour or so. And then looking at the I-10 twin span, I had a boater going through, but looks like they may be under the bridge right now. I'll be back in a few minutes with much more.
All right, Brandi, thank you.
6:49 on this Thursday morning, and it's almost time for you to hit the road. Starting off with a live look at I-10 at the Claiborne flyover, and they are slowing down as that volume picks on up. And I'll show you the drive time around it in just a second. But first, I want to remind you about that crash has been reported in Elmwood. That's on Jefferson Highway heading northbound at Elmwood Park Boulevard. I don't see any heavy congestion or volume on the map as a result of it, but I definitely want you to be aware. And if I were you, maybe take another route, avoid the intersection if you can. Back to the Claiborne flyover, you see that congestion starting to build there on I-10. It says it's averaging 35 miles an hour. I would venture and say that they're probably averaging 30 miles an hour there on that flyover. You see that increase in volume, which is very typical. Another spot where we're seeing that typical increase in volume is coming out of New Orleans East. As folks approach the high-rise bridge, you see the number of cars going across the top, but when you get to the top, it'll average 65 miles an hour. But that congestion is now beyond Crowder, so make sure you're prepared for that if you're hitting the interstate this morning. Looking at the NO Metro, look at the beautiful sunrise there from the I-10 at Williams camera. Business Business 90 at Magnolia. You can see the red and yellow on the map starting to develop before the 7 o'clock hour when we reach that prime time hour of commuting. If you're going across the Industrial Canal, green lights for everybody. Drive times are starting to get bumped up, as is typical for this time. And if I were you, I'd be grabbing my things and heading out the door. I'll have another look at your commute coming up in just a bit. So much, Raven. Starting off with a live look at the Bonnie Carey Spillway at mile marker 210 on I-10 eastbound. This is right where I-55 merges with I-10, and as you can see, they're slowing down just a bit. I want to remind you about this crash in Elmwood that's on Jefferson Highway, heading northbound near Elmwood Park Boulevard. Again, I don't see congestion or delays in that area as a result of that crash, but I want you to be aware. Looking at the NO Metro, I-10 at Williams looks gorgeous from the sky, not so gorgeous on the road. You're starting to see some congestion. That'll clear up in Metairie. I-610 at Canal Boulevard looks great. Other than that, y'all, we're really just seeing congestion in our typical spots like the Claiborne flyover, where it's still averaging 35 miles an hour, but you see that volume is picking up. This is all very, very typical. Drive times are a mixed bag. They're starting to get bumped up for all of our drivers. Let's take a live look outside. Fingers crossed. We got an angler launching his boat right there, but he didn't hit the water. I'm sorry. Now I feel like they're avoiding me, but it's okay.
The voters, you think it's a personal vendetta?
It could be. It could. Now, you know who got personal? When the NOFD said that the NOPD was scared of the little bitty needles, they getting personal.
Well, listen, I was out there last year. NOPD was doing some trash talking, so it will be a fun event. We'll have an update later today on WDSU. The Today Show's next. Have a great one.